going on, you guys? Alhamdulillah. Just got done recording a beautiful episode with my brother Zaheed Lynch over here in the building. Alhamdulillah, man. We talked about a lot. We talked about so much things that I think a lot of youth are going to be relate with, inshallah. Man, we talked about things about the environment, a lot of things that the youth struggle with here in the inner cities, violence in communities, poverty, broken homes, navigating that. We talked about how traveling in Mecca, studying in Egypt has impacted you, shaped you in your journey with Islam, and talked about things like family, the importance of father figures, holding down the home, holding down the children. And we talked about things like not judging people who are struggling, who are on their own journey with Islam. Talked about how to navigate, how to make dawah, inshallah, so those who are learning about the deen can love the deen instead of feeling pushed away. So I think this is going to be really impactful. I think you guys will learn something, a thing or two, because I think I did learn a thing or two from my brother Zaheed. So inshallah, y'all tap in. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host Idris Ali Nasser, and you guys are tuning in to another episode of Talk Ya Haq, the podcast where we discuss the relevant topics impacting us Muslim Western youth. And today I have the privilege of hosting our brother Zaheed Lynch. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. Alhamdulillah, man.
Alhamdulillah.
How you doing?
Bro, alhamdulillah, bro. I'm doing good. I could be doing better. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Subhanallah, for those who don't know, I met Zah through the community in the masajid with Sheikh Fuad in the class and all that. And also, bro, just the fact that you're known in the community, mashallah, as inspiration for a lot of the youth. So I just want to thank you again, bro, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, so for those who don't know, bro, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, like your background?
Yeah. So, I'm a local nasheed artist. I go by the name Zah International. I come out of Tacoma, Washington, but I be up here, moving all around and stuff like that. And more importantly, I'm just another struggling Muslim, just, trying to get on the deen, tougher, just trying to, get more on it,
Yeah. Mashallah. Hey, bro, keep going to that Zah International, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, bro, I know by your Instagram, bro, you be catching flights, mashallah.
Yeah, I mean, man.
Where have you traveled to, and man, what those experiences been like, bro?
I mean, I've been to a lot of countries, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I probably feel like the most influential, like the traveling I've done that was most impactful for me, is when I went to Saudi and when I went to Egypt. It was probably the most, like the two big ones.
Saudi and Egypt. Why is that?
So Saudi, bro, it was like that's the first country I ever been to. That's the first time I ever left the country. So that was probably like 3.5 years ago, and I did Umrah, and it was just like life changing. That's what like sparked like me getting on my deen and all that type of stuff. And then for Egypt, it was just like that was last year. So that was a few years after I went to Mecca, and I was more on my deen. I was ready to give up certain habits. I was ready to that's why I learned how to read Arabic and start pronouncing my prayers correctly.
How long was you in Egypt for? Because I remember that time period. I remember it was you and a couple brothers.
Yeah. Not even too long, but maybe like 2 months or something. But enough, Yeah.
So talk to me about that, bro. That Egypt trip. What made you want to go out there in the first place?
Oh, my bro was just on me. Like when we went to Mecca.
Yeah.
He was like, we would be talking kind of like not fantasy, but just kind of like, oh yeah, we should do this, we should do this. But like back then, I wasn't ready for none of that type of stuff. And so, fast forward to 2020. He's like, I'm going to Egypt. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. He's like, well, come with me. I'm like, I'm straight. And then he's like, bro, like, you don't got no wife, you don't got no kids, bro. Like, you're not going to school. You just working, like, take some time off and come on. And he was just on me. And so I was just like, man, you got a point.
Yeah.
So I was just like, let's do it. You feel me? And then I ended up just going out there. And then I was like already trying to, because I tried to learn Arabic out here like a bunch of times, and I just like, it's too distracting, at least to open the door.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there, get on my Arabic, and just see where it takes me, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah, bro. I remember around that same time, those same brothers, I was actually considering rolling with y'all, bro. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I don't even know. Yeah, I was going back and forth with Musa, Sheikh Fuad, and all that. And I was actually on the verge of going, bro. I was
Yeah.
on the impulse. But one of the reasons that hold me back was like my last year of school. But I wanted to go. I saw the brothers going. I saw like an opportunity,
Yeah.
you know. But how was that, bro? Just going out there, you know, seeing it's way different. I know that for sure.
Bro, way
you know?
different. Bro, that's what it was. Like,
Mm.
I thought it was going to be kind of like Saudi, bro. You feel me? I thought it was going to be like that feeling I had in Saudi was like, there's no feeling like that. So I'm thinking like Egypt is like a Muslim country, so I'm going to feel like that.
The same thing.
I did not feel like that. It was like I did feel like high spiritually.
Yeah.
But like it was definitely a lot of like struggle, a lot of issues, a lot of patience, you know. Like when I went out there, like 2 days later, my grandfather passed away. You feel me? And so I was finna come back,
Right.
but my whole family was just like, "Bro, don't even come back," you know. Like just stay out there, do your thing. Just that's what he would want you to do. You know, he wouldn't want you to come back. So
Yeah.
I ended up just staying, you know. So that kind of like set the tone, you know. And then like as far as just everyday life, it was just different, you know. The apartments that we're staying in, you know, it was just the
It's a
trenches.
struggling
It
area.
was just struggling, you know. And so we so spoiled out here in America, you know. The things that you take for granted, like they're luxury out there.
Wow.
You know. So it was just like, but other than that, you know, alhamdulillah, like it definitely boosted on my patience because out there you can't really get mad, you can't really get frustrated, things never go your way. So like when I got back to America, it's like nothing really even irritated me because I was just happy to be home. I was just comfortable. Like out there, you can't really be all the way comfortable. Even when you at the house, you can't really be all the way comfortable. So like you kind of got to take advantage of that because it kind of like it gets you out your comfort zone, you know, and it gets you out your community, and you can really grow like when you're placed in those type of situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah, bro. I think that's deadly right there, what you mentioned, bro. I think a lot of people go out there and they like romanticize it, you know? They think, you know, it's going to be easy or not be easy, but like they get so excited about studying and all that, but they forget it's going to be hard out there. So you mentioned you left because of the distraction, all that out there. Did you feel like you were less distracted or do you feel like you could have done a lot of what you were doing here?
I mean, in the area I was at, like definitely in Egypt, bro.
It has resources.
Like when I was fresh off the airport, I was like, whoa, like this is like America, you know, if you know what I mean, you know? So, but once I got to where I was at, it was like all the way like strict, you know? It was no like everybody's covered, everybody's, you know, on their stuff, you know? So it's kind of just like, like your mindset when you're going there, it's definitely easy to go to the main city and do the same stuff you do in America. But if you stay, like most of the days, I stayed in the same 1 mile, 2 mile radius. I didn't really move too much. You know, the school is here, all the massages here, restaurants. There's not really too many reasons why to go out. But definitely a lot of less distraction. It was still distraction out there too, because, you know, you with the brothers, so you're goofing, laughing, you know, you still got your phone, internet, but it's definitely easier to just be like, you know, like I said, you're not really going nowhere. You don't got no family. You don't got no like major distractions that's taking up a lot of your time. So it's definitely like if you go in there with the right attitude, the right mindset, you can definitely get a lot done.
Gotcha. Wow. So like, do you feel like you're able to focus better? What do you feel like you got while you were out there? Because you went out there with the objective of studying, getting a new environment. What do you feel like you actually got out there, though?
Well, I feel like I learned how to read Arabic.
Wow,
you know, that was the main thing, that I learned how to read Arabic, like actually understanding some of the rules, and like I learned the alphabet multiple times, you know, but I never got past like learning the alphabet. So I got to learn how to like read it, write it, you know. It was hard though too, because the teachers don't speak English really, so it was like a lot of questions I had. I didn't really know how to ask them, but
that's the tough part, bro.
That's the tough part.
Because I low key be thinking about like, okay, if I go to Saudi right now, or if I go to Egypt or whatever, would it like the language barrier? Like, let's say I don't understand something.
Not literally, you know? And so for me, it was all about planting the seed. When I came back here, like I fell off for the first couple months. And then once I finally got hooked up with a teacher out here that can help me, that speak English and, you know, speaks Arabic and all that, can help me with this, I was able to answer a lot of the, I mean, I was able to get answers to a lot of the questions I had. Yeah. And he was able to explain it like the teacher I have now is teaching me way better than when I was in Egypt. But I wouldn't have been able to do that first step if I didn't go to Egypt and discipline myself and able to like make it a priority. Gotcha. You know, make learning a priority. Because every day I go to class, I'm like, man, I ain't really trying to do this, you know. But I made it a priority in my heart that like, and then once I'm there, I'm straight. But like, like I would make a lot of excuses before that, like, nah, I'm not gonna do that or whatever, you know. And so other than that, the Arabic part, just growing spiritually, I gave up a lot of habits in Egypt, you know. Like when I came back, I had the intention, like I'm not gonna do a lot of the things that I felt like were holding me back to getting closer to Allah, you know. So I was able to shake off a lot of that stuff that I've been wanting to shake, you know. And that's all I needed was some time away and some discipline and, you know, just that motivation.
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Mashallah, bro. When you came back, though, do you feel like it just gave you more strength, or was it hard coming back and readjusting to this environment?
Nah, but I'm not gonna lie, I was hyped when I came back. You know, I was
hyped.
I was excited to come back because, like, I was just burnt out there. I'm not gonna lie, but like, so I was excited to come back, but I had that motivation. You know,
and the push.
That push, and like I said, I already had the intention to give up a lot of things. You know, so the hard adjusting part was just the change in lifestyle. It's like 2 months ago, I was living way different than how I'm trying to live now. Yeah. You know, even though I was on a good transition, like when I went out there, like Allah made me like move faster. So like when I got back out there, when I came back to America, like just having to surround myself with different people, having to, you know, spend my time doing different things than I usually do. You know, so that was a difficult adjustment.
Yeah. I feel you, bro. MashaAllah. But I wonder, like you said, that you learned Arabic, reading Arabic out there, and getting familiar with that. Growing up, were you taught that? Were you exposed to that?
Nah, bro, not really, bro. Like, not at all, bro. What? Like, you know, I was born Muslim. You feel me? But like, I wasn't like raised Muslim, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't really raised on this type of stuff, you know. But I always had La ilaha illallah in my heart.
MashaAllah.
But like, I didn't really know. That's all I knew about the religion. I didn't even really know about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam like too much. I knew who he was, but I definitely didn't have that love for him in my heart, you know. Yeah. And so, like, you know, my pops is Muslim, but he wasn't really like a practicing Muslim when I was a kid. So like, but he tried. Like, he had like a couple dudes. He had people come to the house trying to teach me. He had me try to go to Dukesy, but by the time like I was about to go to Dukesy and trying to do all that, I'm like 9 years old, so I'm like, I'm straight. I don't even want to do this type of stuff, you know. You got to get a kid early, you know. So like, yeah, I ain't really, you know, I tried to do that stuff as a kid, but it wasn't really, you know, Allah had different plans, you know. So I had to wait till I was a little older and to really like fall in love with the religion to even want to do that type of stuff, you know.
And how did that end up happening? Do you remember, like, was it a specific moment, or how did it, or someone that taught you?
I mean, like, I say when I was like in high school, like 14, is when I like knew, because I always been spiritual, you know. I always like been scared of hell, you know, because I always was around like the most religious people I knew were non-Muslims, Christians. Like I got pastors in my family and all type of stuff. So yeah, I was always spirituality and God, like, you know, like that energy. Yeah. But I never felt like the Christianity route was the right route, you know. And so I never was like, oh, I'm Christian. But I just didn't know for sure as a kid, like, am I Muslim because of me? Or am I Muslim because of my dad, you know? Right. So when I was like 14, that's when I was like, I got to figure this stuff out. And so, not going to lie, it didn't take too long to get like all the way convinced because I was like old enough to be able to like understand the beauty of religion, the beauty of Islam.
Mm.
So like 14, that's when I was like, okay, now I'm Muslim for myself,
What do you know what it was specifically that you was like, wow, Islam is
Just
different.
like when I read the Quran and just stuff like that, I just was like, bro, I already believe this. I just never really read the Quran as a kid, I just never really understood like what Islam was. When I was like, oh, it's just believing in God and one God and like there's no partners, like, and you're gonna go to heaven based on your deeds. Like I already believed that. I just didn't know that's what Islam really was. So
SubhanAllah.
once I just knew what Islam was, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Because that Christianity stuff, like they stuff was confusing me even as a kid, So, and then like after that, it still took years for me to like want to be a good Muslim or anything like that. Like I was just content with being Muslim. Like okay, I got it. I don't. I was like, at least I'm Muslim, 'cause I know a lot of non-Muslims. So to be Muslim was already a blessing. And so honestly, like when I went to Mecca, bro, was when it was like, okay, that's when Allah showed me like.
And you was that your 20s? Was that which birthday was
like,
that?
Well, I was like right before I turned 21.
Gotcha.
You feel me? Is when like right before I went to Mecca, that's when I started like praying on my prayers. You know, and all that. And then when I went to Mecca a couple months after that, that's when they're like, Allah showed me like, oh, well, I actually have action at being a good Muslim. Like Allah wouldn't just invite me to Mecca and Medina and let me experience. At that time, I only knew one person who ever went. I didn't know anybody who's ever went. So like for Allah to allow little old me to go to Mecca and Medina, I was like, oh yeah, it gotta be something like Allah showing me something. Like I have the ability to be a good Muslim,
Wow.
So that's when it was like, I started wanting to like be a good Muslim.
SubhanAllah. Man, I remember when I went out there to Mecca too, bro. It's a different type of feeling. And I feel like everybody, inshallah, like gets the experience of going, But just going out there, seeing the Kaaba, just seeing it, what was going through your head was like, subhanAllah, like Allah SWT chose me to be here. That's what was pushing you kind of.
Yeah, bro, wallahi, like it was like that's it, bro. Like I know a lot of Muslims who've been Muslim for a long time and they never went, I know a lot of Muslims who died that never got the opportunity to go. So like for Allah to allow me to go, like I was FaceTiming everybody and like, bro, like just like couldn't believe it, and I was just so like, yeah, like seeing the Kaaba like in person. And then even like going to Medina, I didn't really know too much about Medina, like besides like, history and stuff, but I didn't really know like I wasn't even excited to go to Medina until I got there and I was like, whoa, this is like a different type of feeling, bro, like that. And I flew into Medina, so I was in Medina first.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, this is a whole different type of feeling. Like I never even really knew too much about this area,
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it was just like, it just expanded my whole mind and it opened up my heart. I just was like, look, like that's just the most excited, most content, most like, and during that time period, man, was one of the most stressful times of my life. Like that's when it was just like all bad, So, but I didn't even feel none of that. Like literally, if I was in America, I'd be stressing and like going crazy. But like when I was in Saudi, I wasn't even thinking about that stuff. I was just so content. Like I was like, bro, this is straight. I don't even care what's going on back home.
Wow.
You feel me?
That's subhanAllah, bro. Just thinking about that right now, it's like as you're going through that struggles, subhanAllah, Allah SWT said, come here. It's an invitation, like come here, come to me.
Literally.
Even though what's happening back home. So I want to talk about like, I know we talked about traveling and stuff like that, but let's bring it back like home, bro. I mean, we both grew up here in Washington State, and subhanAllah, there's a lot of things that go on here, bro. A lot of the Muslim Western youth are struggling out here with their environment, whether it be poverty, whether it be violence, whether it be broken homes. So I want to ask you, bro, it's like, what have you basically seen just growing up? What did you become accustomed to, and how did you have to navigate that? It's a big question.
It's a good question. I say, bro, like for me, how do I say this? I got like I got turned out early, you know?
Mm.
Like, I got exposed to stuff early. I got, like, influenced negatively early, you know, before I hit puberty and stuff. So by the time I hit puberty, it was like I was already gone, you know? I was
Mm.
already had a certain mindset. Like I said, like when my dad tried to put me in Duke shit at 9, like I was already a certain type of kid. I was already a certain type of, like I was a good kid, but I already was just like fascinated with non-permissible things, you know? And
Mm.
so, and I always was spiritual. I always loved the law. I always wanted to please the law, but it was just like, I didn't really understand I don't know how to explain it. I just didn't really understand the importance of it. Or I thought I could do both, please Allah and still do
Mm.
what I want to do kind of thing, you
Right.
know?
Right.
But yeah, you know, I grew up with all that type of stuff, you know, you know, like street culture. You know, a lot of my family was in the streets and trying to survive and all that type of stuff. Like most of the Muslims I knew as kids most of the Muslims I knew when I was a kid were street dudes. You know, I didn't really know too many like Muslims that really like took it all the way seriously. You know, like
Mm.
it's like with the Christians, like you know, a lot of people that be like, I'm Christian and they believe it and their heart is good, but
Mm.
they're not really practicing it. So like I didn't know the sheikhs or the imams or nothing like that as a kid, you know. So
Yeah.
I didn't really, um, yeah. So I didn't really like get the beauty of that, the beauty of iman, you know.
Mm.
Um, what you call it? And so like just being in the, you know, coming from these type of environments, you know, you see all type of things, you know, and you deal with all type of things, you know. So I just,
What do you think people from the outside looking in, people who, look at people who are, quote unquote, in the street culture, who see people, struggling with this? What do you think the people from the outside looking in do not understand from those who actually grew up in this environment, who, you know,
like just
yeah.
regular people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being a product of circumstances and stuff. Like
Mm.
you know, being a product. I only really like to say product of environment because your environment don't really control you as much as your circumstances do. You know,
Mm.
there's kids that grew up in the worst neighborhoods, but their circumstances was alright, so they was able to do something. There's kids that grew up in good neighborhoods, but their circumstances wasn't good,
Mm.
and it chose them to do certain things. So just being a product of circumstances, like the people I grew up under, like my dad, my uncle, but the circumstances were just unbelievable. You know,
Allah.
like the way they grew up was just like unbelievably tragic. You know, so to see, like you might look at someone who's 30 years old, like, oh, but you're still doing this stuff, but it's like, bro, you don't know what a dude went through as a kid. You don't know what someone went through. So I think
Mm.
that's the main thing. Is just not like some things you can't comprehend. You know, some things you can't understand, and then just following your desires and already being caught up in your ways, you know, like when you caught up in your ways, it's hard to give up certain stuff, you know.
Mm.
So I think that's the
That's
main thing.
That's deadly, bro.
Yeah,
That's deadly. I mean, you touch a lot about this in your work. I remember I was playing "Lord Forgive Me," bro, and I remember I was listening to that, and I had to listen to it like a lot of times, bro, just to fully
yeah,
grasp what you were saying.
yeah, for
Subhanallah.
sure.
So I want to actually transition. We're gonna break down some of the things that you were talking about, but first I want to actually dive into that. Like, how did you get it? Because I know initially you were more so like in the music industry, and then you transitioned into doing the sheets. So
Yeah,
can you talk about your background and why you transitioned, how you went about it?
yeah, bro. So yeah, like you said, bro, I was just rapping with the music and stuff, and like even like that, like I didn't even know music was haram until like a couple years ago, maybe, you know.
Mm.
So like I already was doing that type stuff. You know, I already was infatuated about that. Of course, growing up in these communities, that's what you're going to want to be like. You're going to want to be like the rappers. You're going to want to be. And then, that's a good way out for a lot of people, you know?
Mm.
And then my dad was involved with, like, my dad wasn't a rapper or nothing, but, like, he was involved with that type of stuff, you know? So,
Mm.
we grew up with studio in the house and grew up with different rappers going to shows, like, so, and like a lot of people like would tell me as a kid like I had talent and that to put my talent to this rather than putting my talent into something like negative or more negative, I should say, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's what had me like just had that passion for the music. And then when I met like all people would be telling me about Isam. You feel me? Like, oh, you should tap in with him and stuff. And I'm like, like, man, tap me in. Like, I wasn't really thinking too much about it. And then I ended up meeting Isam, bro, at one of his videos or something. And I don't know, he already knew me, And so he walked up on me just like, oh, yeah, I rock with you, yada, 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 you feel me?
Yeah.
And so after that, we was locked in. I started just kind of rocking with him a little bit, met Petty, you feel me, going to their sessions, and just like, I never even heard of nasheed. I never even heard of this stuff. Like 2 years ago, I never even heard of it, So, like, when I'm like, oh, bro, this isn't music. Like, oh, y'all do something different. Like, I'm just like, and I'm listening like, wow, this dude's dope. You feel me? Like, I can listen to this,
Yeah.
And so, because I heard nasheed before, I just didn't know what it was. And I'm just like, I'm not listening to this,
Yeah.
And so when I'm listening, like when I heard Isam or like Muslim Bilal and all that type of stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I can actually listen to this type of stuff, And so that's what kind of transitioned me to like, it was a long transition though, because they'll be in my ear like, man, boy, just, give up the music and just, I'll be like, yeah, I hear you, bro. I'm just not. And then that's one of the things I gave up though. When I went to Egypt, bro, I was just like, I had the intention, like, I hope I can. And then one day I was just in Egypt, I was just like, I'm done with that stuff. I'm not even about to do it. Why go back and, like, what am I, like, why move forward in something that isn't pleasing Allah? Like, it's not like I'm too far in it where I'm making millions of dollars off of it or nothing like that. I can stop right now. Like, if I don't stop now, it's just going to be harder to stop later. So I was just like, I'm straight. I'm going to just do that nasheed stuff and see where that takes me.
Got you. Hey, man, subhanAllah. So could we dive into that? Was that your first piece from, with...
That Lord Forgive Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first piece, bro. And that was like when I recorded that. I recorded that like 2 years ago or something. Like, it was a minute ago.
You serious?
Yeah, it was a minute ago, bro. I was still definitely heavily involved with the music when I recorded that. Petty just gave me the beat. Like, if I'm just, hey, do something with this.
Yeah.
And so that was the inspiration. The beat's like, Lord Forgive Me. Like the beat says it. So I was just like, I just kind of went with the beat. And I just like, just no chorus, nothing, just pure bars. Just like went in the studio and just, was like, knocked it out, and at that time in my place, at that point in time, I was in that transition phase of like, I'm trying to be a better Muslim. I'm just still caught up in so many things. So I'm just speaking on that, like being a very struggling Muslim coming from here. I'm speaking about some of the issues like that we deal with, as far as desires, our communities, our influences, all that type of stuff. So I really was just speaking from the heart at where I was at that point in time.
I wonder, man, did you always used to use writing as a form of just like letting out what's in your heart? Like even when you were doing the music, did you find writing as that, or did you just see, what was the reason behind your writing? Because bro, when I hear you spitting, it's not like regular bars. It's like it's meaning behind it. It's passion behind it.
And no, I mean that's what it was, bro. I always like was interested with like music was my first love, Like when I was 3, 4, I was one of them kids like some kids like sports, some kids like this, some kids like this, video games. I was the music kid, the kid that liked raps and like hearing deep stuff. Like I was listening to crazy stuff as a kid. I wasn't just listening to stuff on the radio. I already had like people used to give me money to put the dopest stuff on their iPod or on their burn CDs and stuff like that as a kid, elementary school. So I always was so infatuated with rap, especially rap that like real bars and real meaning behind it, So like once I was old enough to start like doing it, I just was like probably 10, 11 years old when I started like really writing and being able to do this stuff. Like, I just never let go of it. Even when I stopped rapping, like, there's times I did the rap and I stopped and I did it and I stopped. I never stopped writing, though, I never stopped, like, trying to perfect my craft,
Right.
So it was just something I always, I always was able to. I was like, even if I don't ever do something with this, I'm going to always do it because it makes me feel good.
Yeah. Man, there's a bar. Hold up. I had to pull out this bar, man. And I don't even want to, like, I don't want to do it with my voice because I feel like it's going to be unjust. Because,
Yeah.
But what was it? Can you say that bar, bro? We glorify the shooters. Can you say that bar?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. we glorify the shooters that don't miss a shot, but show no glory for the ones that don't miss a lot. Then we ask why the kids ain't at the mosque because they on the corner on the corner poster standing on the block over a little altercation. We gonna grab the Glock. You calling him your op, but really that's your ock.
So, bro, man, we gotta get
that was
into
crazy.
that.
That was a crazy few bars.
That was, man, like, what was going through your mind as you writing this, though?
Man, that first part, what I said. Oh, yeah. So that was just speaking like, bro, we you know, we want to be like the shooters, you know, like the culture that we live in, you know, like whether it's you, whatever race, you know, whether you African American, whether you're a revert, whether you born Muslim, raised Muslim, and you East African, you know, like,
yeah,
if you come from America and you living in an urban area, you gonna be adapted to the culture, you know, and you gonna be influenced by what's going on outside. So, like, outside, we want to be like the shooters. We want to be like that's the ones who get, oh yeah, he's with it, he's a shooter, he's you know, and then the dudes that's really on they dean like, we not even thinking about them. We not like, oh yeah, he's cool, but and those are really the ones that's like who you should want to be like. The one like that takes way more effort and discipline and way more just realness to be able to never miss a lot, you know, rather than like hurting somebody, you know, and so and then that makes it's like, you know, you hear the elders be like, oh, the kids ain't in the masjid. Like, yeah, because they don't want to be like y'all. They want to be like these dudes out here. They want to be like the rappers. They want to be like the dudes they see on the internet. That's what y'all not doing nothing that is influencing them. You feel me? Because you guys ain't really adapted to them, you know? Which I'm not saying we got to change the religion or nothing, but we got to, when you move to a whole different country, or you have a religion that, like, this is a foreign religion, you know, you have to be able to grab the youth, you know, and so if you're not grabbing them, somebody else is grabbing them, you know, and those people are these dudes outside, you know, and that doesn't even make these dudes evil. They're a product of their circumstances and stuff, but that's just the domino effect of how it's happening, and so that leads to, of course, bro, you know, like in Islam, bro, like, violence should be like the last solution. Like, okay, when nothing else works, you might have to resort into some violence or something. You feel me? Like,
in what situation are you talking about?
I'm just speaking generally. Just a situation, you know, like
self-defense.
You know, like the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Sahaba, they went to war, but they wasn't just going to war and doing all that from the get-go. You know, there was times where they was getting, you know, rocks was getting thrown at them and all different type
torture,
of things.
oppressed.
Exactly. You feel me? And they had to just, you know, suck it up type stuff. And then when it was time to battle, it was time to battle, of course. But like for us, it's culture that we abide by.
But for us, it's you
first.
Know, it's first. It's off the rip.
It's off the jump. Like, I'm not even thinking. I'm not trying to talk. I'm not trying to. We're going straight to violence. And a lot of these like killings and wars out here, bro, it be starting over the dumbest stuff. It be starting over arguments. It be starting over girls. It be starting over dice games. Like all type of just goofy stuff. That's like, damn, bro, how many people died? And this is what it started. It started because this dude was talking to this girl, you know, and then this dude died behind it, and then that just started a whole uproar, you know, and so, and then that last bar, like when I'm just like, you calling him your op, but really that's your ock. That's just like, we see that, you know, Muslims beefing with Muslims like, oh, that's the ops. He mess with them dudes. It's like, but we all brothers in Islam at the end of the day, you know, and I'm not saying you got to be buddy if somebody, you know, killed your brother or something. Like, I can't expect somebody to like be cool with that, but it's just like at the end of the day, bro, like crossing that line of killing a Muslim or doing something to a Muslim, like I don't think a lot of people really understand the danger behind that, you know.
And what is the danger behind that?
You know, I'm not knowledgeable, so I can't really, you know, but I don't want people to quote me, but I know, bro, fire is definitely at stake, you know. I heard a powerful hadith. I don't want to even speak on it because I don't got the wording right. But basically, like, it was something like, I think it was a hadith, like something like if two Muslims kill each other or try to kill each other, they both can go to the fire or something, because
I just heard about that.
The one who died had the intention to kill him, and the one who actually did it, like, you killed the Muslim. So it was something like that. May Allah forgive us all. You feel me? May Allah forgive the brothers, man. But like, when I heard that, I was just like, ooh. And then even like I said, bro, most of the Muslims I knew, like, as a kid, were street dudes. But like, when it came to Islam, bro, they were like I know, bro. I knew dudes that, like, they really be beefing, and then they find out this dude took their shahada. They like, it's cool. Like, I'm not cool, but I'm not off that like that no more. Cause you Muslim, so like, I know dudes that really, like, don't cross that line, who will cross that line if you wasn't a Muslim, but they won't cause you're Muslim. So when I got older and I'm like, whoa, Muslims are killing Muslims, I thought that was the craziest thing in the world, bro. Cause even when I wasn't on my deen or nothing, like, I always, like, when I find a person, oh, bro, you Muslim, I'm happy. I instantly, or like, if I was arguing with someone, and I'm like, oh, you Muslim, like, it's just, I get a different feeling, like, oh, it's straight, you know? So, like, I understand, though, certain things happen and be out of people's control, but it's just, like, it's a crazy epidemic. It's a crazy thing to just see Muslims killing Muslims, like, right here, you know? And overseas, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just crazy.
That is crazy, bro. Like, we can't even get to, like, every detail about what causes a lot of the violence, what causes someone to want to go ahead and kill and take another person's life.
Yeah.
Like, for me personally, bro, like, I'm not gonna even act like that's the environment that I come from. Yeah. You know, personally, if I stayed in one place, like, there was a point where I lived in this area, right here and right near. Had I been staying there my whole life, I probably would have been in an environment that's not the best. But shoot, my mom, she took us to California. She took us to Puyallup. She took us to Kent. Bro, like, there was no place where I had a brother and I could look at the brother and say, I've been rocking with this brother for 10 plus years. And there's a lot of brothers here who that's been the case. I was brought up with the brother. This is like, you know, and then violence happens and your brother gets killed. I can't even act like I could relate to that. Yeah. So when you see people hurting and they feel the urge to inflict hurt on other people, it's like, can you blame the person for feeling this way?
Yeah, it's part of the circumstances, like I said. You know? And that's what, like, a lot of people got to understand. You can't just point the finger and be like, oh, look at these dudes. Like, bro, it's part of the circumstances. Like, yeah, how can you working with your dude for 10, 15 years, and then somebody kills him, he don't go to jail, he walking around here just free? Of course you want to do something to him, you know? And I can't even say I really been in that experience where, like, my main dude who I rock with every day got killed, and the dude, like, some of my closest dudes, like, who got killed, who I grew up with, like, the dudes who killed him went to jail or, you know, whatever, you know? So, like, you see the dude who killed your dude, like, I can't even speak on that feeling because I never ran into nobody that killed my people, and I know you killed my people, you know? So, but I know definitely, like, yeah, for me, bro, like, another thing with me, like, I love people from every area, you know? I don't really get in politics, you know? Like, like I said, I'm from Tacoma, so even out there, it's different politics. And in Seattle, like, out here, it's a lot of politics. And I don't really, a lot of people I love beef with a lot of people I love, you know? So it's like, I try to just, you know, worry about me and mine, you know? I got too many little brothers and family that I got to really worry about. Like, that's who I really owe my all loyalty to. And so whether these dudes is arguing and they going at it about something, like, that's between them and God, you know? That really, like, unless you're with me and somebody's trying to harm you, like, then I'm not going to let nobody harm you while you're with me, you know? But other than that, bro, I can't be getting into people's stuff because, like, I might go do something and now I'm not here for my little brothers. Now I'm not here for my mom. Now I'm not here, you know? And sometimes you gotta choose that over any type of emotion, you know? But I understand if some people can't, you know? And that's just the unfortunate thing about this whole discussion that we're having, you know?
Subhanallah, bro, subhanallah. I feel like those who actually, like lived that life or been exposed to that life, they tell other people, like, this is not what you want. You'll hear that a lot of people, like, you know, you gotta stay away from this, you know, you gotta avoid this. But then we talked about earlier, like, those who glorify this lifestyle, you know, and it's, for me, bro, the only thing that I just can't wrap my mind around is, like, those who glorify it, those who didn't lose somebody, why would they wish that lifestyle upon themselves? That's the thing I don't get. Is it because of social media? Is it because of the music? Is it
Bro,
because
it's just like you said, it's a balance thing because the same dudes, like, if someone really cares about you, they're probably gonna tell you not to do it. Like, my dad told me not to do it. My uncles told me not to do it. You feel me? But at the end of the day, I still got influenced by them unknowingly. You know, they're telling me not to do it, but they're doing another thing, and I'm seeing results. You know, like I'm seeing, you know, the people I know working hard, bro, and they're not getting nothing. And then I'm seeing people that's doing what they do, and I'm seeing results. You know, I'm seeing status. I'm seeing like this dude's respected. You know, this dude working all day, he's not getting respected. His wife is talking crazy to him. His kids are talking crazy to him. Like, why would I want to be like this dude right here? You know. So there's that, and then there's also, yeah, like, even before, we live in a social media era, so I guess we could just speak about that. But even before that, it's always been status and egos and all that. But social media brought it to a whole different place where, like, before, you only really knew about your area.
Yeah.
You know, if you grew up in South Seattle, you might know a little bit about CD and a little bit about Tacoma, but you definitely don't know what they're doing in Atlanta. How would you? You know?
Right.
So now, when we're on social media, we see the whole world on our phone. So we see how people living in Atlanta, how people living in New York, how people living in LA. And it's all depending on who you follow, you know, and depending on what you're interested in, you're gonna see like, damn, bro, these dudes got, and the internet's fake, bro. They gonna always show you.
They gonna show you. Yep.
I done seen people be like, hey, bro, can I borrow that, bro, so I could put that? Oh yeah, bro. You know, well, all type of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's really fake. But if you don't, like, you see that and you're like, I want that. I want that money. I want these guns. I want the attention. The girl, you see the comments. Oh yeah, this dude's getting all the girls. But yeah, I gotta do something to get all the girls, all the ladies, so they know I'm not. They know I'm that guy. You feel me? And so I think that's what makes, like, and so when you really in it, then you really in it, you know. And then when you're not really in it and you're just a regular, you know, Joe Blow, you're like, oh, bro, I don't want this being regular stuff isn't really exciting. This being regular stuff isn't really nothing. I'm trying to get some excitement. I'm trying to get some girls. I'm trying to have people respect me. So I think that's what makes people want to, like, do this type of stuff. But that's how you know that, like, you don't really want this, bro. 'Cause when stuff hits the fan, like, that's how all this other stuff happens. You know, when stuff hits the fan, they gon' they gonna break. You know, that when you behind the wall doing 15 years, like, that stuff ain't worth it, bro. You know, when you gotta get shot and you can't even walk normal, you can't even breathe normal, or you feel me? Like, you gotta it affects you when somebody shoots your parents' house up and your mom's traumatized, your little brothers are traumatized. Like, that's the stuff that really come with it, but they don't want that. They only gonna want the good. They only want the fun stuff, the fun stuff about what comes with the streets, but they don't want the real stuff that comes with the streets, you know?
SubhanAllah, bro. You know, when it comes to, like, this topic of those being influenced, influenced in that direction, I want to ask you, bro, it's like, how can we then influence those the other direction? How can we influence them towards that? Because you said that guy getting disrespect by his wife can't get no respect from his kid, and these guys looking for clout. They looking for attention.
Yeah.
So how can we influence them, whether it be fathers? How does it look like for a father? How does it look like for the men in the community? How does it look like to show them, like, let me show you something else where you can get something better, something safer, something more that has longevity to it,
Fathers are a huge role, bro.
That's huge.
Fathers are a huge role, bro. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, I was just thinking about this, bro. Like, me, bro, I work with, like, young people that, like, have catch felony cases and stuff. So I work with, like, the lawyers, prosecutors, probation officers, and try to just get them right.
Right.
I'm just looking at my caseload, like, probably a week or two ago. I'm like, bro, only, like, one of these, I got, like, 20 kids. Only, like, one of them got active dads in their life, bro. Like, and most of them know they dads. A couple might be dead, a couple might be in jail, but most of them dads is around. They're just not, like, active. And they're in single mom households. And that's, like, really affecting their decisions, bro. As far as just being hella nonchalant, like hearing that, I'm gonna tell your dad, well, but don't make me get your dad. Like that's a whole different.
That's
Like,
a whole
it
nother
make you
thing.
act right,
Right.
and like, literally, bro. Like, so for me too, like, bro, my pops was around. You know, like my pops always. Like, he used to be in like Kent, Renton. He always was close though. Even though I didn't live with him.
Yeah.
You know, it was always like, I'll call your dad. Your dad will come out here right now, you know? And my dad wasn't no strict dad or nothing, you know? He was like very lenient. He was very like, he wanted us to make mistakes and figure things out on our own too. He didn't want to have a bunch of rules and just for us to be sneaky and all that type of stuff. But like, there were certain things that was just off limits, like gang banging, like doing drugs. You feel me? Like those are like straight off limit things, you know, and that kind of kept me like grounded because like if you come in from these environments, bro, you likely gonna be like, oh, I'm from here. Like, I'm from here. Like, and don't get me wrong, I love my neighborhood. I'll be like, oh, I'm from the east side, but I'm not about to die for it or nothing. If someone's like, oh, you know, the east side, like I don't even care about none of that type of stuff, you know. But like, if my pops wasn't around to really influence me in that way, who's to say I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm from this block, I'm from over here, you know, don't disrespect it, you know, or like when it comes to like doing drugs or trying things, like, nah, bro, you know, like I always been scared of like the hardcore drugs, pills, and all that, like, nah, I'm not doing that, you know.
A lot of people dying from those.
A lot of people die. Yeah, now a lot of people dying from it. But even before people was dying like from it, like on a crazy level, I'm not gonna try it just cause my pops stressed to me like, all right, bro, definitely don't do these things. You probably shouldn't do these things over here either, but definitely don't do these things. And I know the relationship me and my dad had, he not gonna lie to me, you know. So, and he always just like, you know, he gave me everything I needed. You know, of course there was still struggles and there was times where, he in jail or, caught up in the streets, but he was always there. Whether he was in jail, no matter what, he was always there. I could always depend on him for everything. So having that cushion kind of thing, like you always could still feel like a young, not like a kid, but like I'm gonna be straight. I got my pops.
I got my dad.
Even if you got your mom, just like once you get 15, 16, you like a man. Your mom really can't teach you how to be a man, bro. She can give you the best she can, but she cannot teach you how to be a man. Even like right now, bro. My dad's doing years right now, like crazy amount of years right now, you know. And he was actually supposed to go to Mecca with us, bro. Buy the ticket and everything. We was finna go in like a week. Allah had different plans. Things went different. I still went, you know. But so I was grown when my dad just went to jail this recent time. You feel me? And he got a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 8-year-old right now. You know? And so that was when he left, that's when I was like, whoa. Like that's when I already felt grown. I was already living by myself and was doing my thing. But that's when it was like, whoa, he's gone now. Like he's not around now. Now I can't just depend on him for everything. Like even though I didn't really depend on him for nothing really, it was like I still know I can. Now that's not there. And that's when I was like, whoa. And I'm grown by then. I'm damn near 21. And like even I see it in my little brothers, like they're being raised by my dad's wife, you know, their mom. And even though like my dad still has influence, and alhamdulillah, he has resources still, and Allah made it way easier for us and my little brothers than most people whose fathers incarcerated. It's still like the everyday life of being in a home, and it's just a woman in the house, and you gotta raise 3 boys, and you can't. It's a struggle, man. You know, like I be telling them all the time, you would never do that if dad was around. If dad was in here, you would have never done that. You would have been on your stuff if dad was around. But but your mom's working all day and trying to figure things out, and your mom's barely here, and you feel me? Like now you be trying to be slick. You try to be slick with your mom. You're going to try to always like find a way. She's going to give you leeway. She's going to give you leeway. Even though she's the harsh parent. My dad's really the lenient parent, you know, but still her being a woman, it's like I don't know what it is really.
It's something, bro.
It's something, because she's the one that yells, and she's the one that, even when she yelling, I'm like, oh, man, like, you feel me? My dad, he don't really yell. He's never really tripping, but still, him being a man, you wouldn't test him. You feel me? And so, man, it's a huge role, you know?
And man, there's a lot we could get into this subject by itself, because to be honest with you, I feel like nowadays in our culture and what's going on, I feel like the role of a father is I think it's just not acknowledged as much as it should be.
Yeah.
The importance of a father in cultivating a healthy society. And I can backtrack this, because I feel like a lot of that, you know, when you talk about inactive fathers who are not really involved in a lot of these young boys' life, I feel like a lot of times what ends up happening is they looking for a sense of that belonging, looking for a sense of community, looking for a sense of like that status kind of. A lot of times you get that from your pops, knowing that like I mean something to my pops.
Man, that's what my dad always instilled in me, bro, that I was important. He always be like, even to this day, bro, you so dope. I'm proud of you. Like I heard that my whole life, so that really gave me high confidence, and I still had insecurities even after that. So I can only imagine if I didn't have my dad instilling in that to me, and my mom too, though. My mom even more so than my pops, because my pops, it was like I still like I felt like I couldn't be 100% myself around him, because you want to always look good in front of your pops, you know, like I'm a sensitive dude. So like being sensitive, and like, I don't want to do that. But my mom, I could cry and do all that soft stuff, you know, but I had both my parents like that.
It's a balance. That's what you get when you get two parents.
And you know, exactly. Yeah. And my mom's too sweet. My mom's too like peaches and cream, you know. My dad was always reality, you know. But yeah, like fathers, like even with the women, bro. Like, even more so with the women, bro. Like, fathers you gotta, with a boy always want to be like his dad. A dad can make 100 mistakes. He's always gonna make excuses for his dad. Not my dad, you feel me? So, with a girl, you don't got that much. Like, I got a sister who's 20, she just turned 22 the other day. We got the same, that's the only sibling I have, same mom and dad. Bro, her and my dad have a different relationship. Alhamdulillah, it's good now. Like, since she been like 16 and now it's been good. But like that 11 to 16, it was shaky. Her experience with my dad was way different than mine. Even though it looked the same, her being a woman is different, bro. You know, because when me, like I said, my dad was involved with what he was involved with. So he ain't just trying to have her exposed to a lot of stuff that he wasn't tripping if I was exposed to, you know. So when I'm around, like, most of my childhood being with my dad, it wasn't me doing kid stuff. It was me being with my dad. Yeah. And so when my dad and my sister, they didn't have certain conversations. They wasn't as close as they maybe should have been. He wasn't nurturing her the way he probably should have, you know? And that affects a woman on a whole different level. So imagine a dad who... My dad was there. My dad was there financially, not too much emotionally, but with everything else, he did it right, you know. And she still had a lot of issues, as far as, I don't want to say daddy issues, but like just issues revolving around her father. So a father who's inactive or not around, or makes his daughter feel certain type of ways and calls her names, or, you know, dismisses his daughter's feelings, she's gonna try to feel the thing, whatever your father's liking, you're gonna try to feel that in a different man, you know. And I see it like a woman who has a good relationship with her father, bro.
It's way different.
It's way different. Mm-hmm. Even how she deals with her partner, and a man, you're not gonna let certain stuff slide because you're not used to that. Nah, my father treated me like this, so of course it's not gonna be the same. But like, you're not going to let certain stuff slide. Nah, you're not going to just talk to me that type of way. You're not going to just do this type of way. Mm-hmm. If your father, if you got a shaky relationship with your father, and you're going to let a lot of stuff slide when it comes to a dude. Mm-hmm. You're going to give a dude 100 million chances because that's all you know? Rather than if you got that father, you're not just giving dudes chances. All right, bro, you got like 1 chance, 2 chances to get this stuff right. If you ain't trying to get it right, I'm going to find someone that can get it right, because I don't deserve nothing less. You feel me? So it's vital, bro.
SubhanAllah, bro. Man, how can we, like, I want to ask this, like, how can we as community members show that, like, you can get respect, you can get status, even though we shouldn't be like looking for status, but it's in us, like it's humans, it's gonna be that way. So how do we show those, like, you can do that in these other ways, you can do that, through other ways?
I think just being like, what gravitated me towards Islam was the beauty of it, and the beauty of it is just the logistic behind it, bro. Just like, what's better than having a good status with Allah, bro? Like, what's better than that? Like, and really, you can ask anybody that, they really gonna be like any Muslim kid, they gonna be like, nah. Even though if that's not really like how they're portraying or acting, they know that's the truth, bro. These Muslim kids know what the truth is. They just so caught up in their desires, bro. And so they're not thinking about it, but they know what it is. If so I think really just like digging deep into that, bro. Like letting them fall in love, making them fall in love with the religion, bro. And what changed me was like, I was always scared of the fire, but what really changed me was like, I don't even know how to say this, but basically like, I feel like I want paradise more than I'm scared of the fire. Like, I'm scared of the fire, but like, that's not what hell influenced me to change. It was more so like, I want to be in paradise. I feel like understanding what paradise really is. Well, I balance, bro, because I'm scared of the fire too. I'm not trying to make it seem like, but like, if like for me when I was young, even a few years ago, I'm just thinking heaven or hell, but I'm not really understanding the details of it.
Yeah.
When I heard the details of hell, I'm like, whoa, bro, that is different. Crazy. When you hear the details of Jannah, bro, you're like,
you already there.
You're just like, whoa, bro, I want that, bro. What I gotta do to do that? And it's like, just, bro, having real conversations with these young dudes, bro, and not judging them, and not, you feel me, like, not placing everything on their lap at once, you feel me? Like, because if somebody gave me the whole rule book of Islam at 14, even if they give it to me at 20, I'd have been like, bro, I'm straight, bro. I am not trying to do this, bro. Like, it just gotta start with prayer, bro. If you're not, like, if someone's not making salat, if they're not making like all 5 of their salats, bro, like, don't even speak about nothing else damn near, bro. Because it's like, if they're already not praying, what can you say about them smoking and not doing this or not doing this or not doing that? They're already not praying, bro. They have to pray in order to change. If they're not willing to change their schedule and change their shift that, how could they shift anything else? You feel me? So I think it really just starts with like making people like just fall in love with the religion, bro. Like everybody, if you Muslim, bro, you know this is the truth, bro. Even if it's you caught up in a bunch of stuff, it's the truth, bro. So I feel like just pushing young people to like find the beauty in Islam, find the beauty in pleasing and loving Allah, and putting that first, and influencing them to pray, and just really focusing on that. And once they start praying, like, Allah gonna do the rest. Allah gonna open their heart. Allah gonna do, like, they gotta start praying though. That's the main thing.
SubhanAllah, bro. I remember you even broke down your story and how you had to transition, like, between Egypt and all this stuff that you were struggling with. It was a transition process. It wasn't just like overnight.
Literally.
And like, it reminds me, like, some sheikh even said, he's like, Allah SWT gave us revelation incrementally. He gave us halal, haram incrementally.
Exactly.
He didn't just drop it on the sahabas.
Exactly.
So it's like us, when we talking to people who, like, their environment, they struggling. So are we just gonna like push them and like judge them, ostracize them, and say like, make everything just so rigid with them, as if like we are the gatekeepers of Islam?
Yeah.
And like you even said in your piece, Lord forgive me, man, what did you say? It was a bar, bro. You said this is Allah's religion. How can we act like we don't belong?
I mean, how can you act like we don't belong?
Was that some of that was going behind your head?
Man, nah, definitely, bro. And then after that, I was like, the scholars look at us as kafirs, assume we don't believe, don't even ask us, nor guide us or try to get our prayers mastered. You feel me? And when I say scholars, I don't mean like the scholars. Like I said, this is before I really understood certain stuff. I mean like the people in the masjid,
right?
The more knowledgeable people than us, So, like, I didn't definitely, I'm from Tacoma, so there's a masjid out there, and it's like all like, there's not really too many people that look like you. You feel me? That look like us. That like in Tacoma, there's not really no Muslims like that. There's Arabs, but that's it. There's not really like, and there might be a few reverts or stuff, but there's not really. We don't have I never went to school with a Muslim kid. I was always the only Muslim, and like, You know, so when I'm going to the masjid out there, or even out here too, like, you know, you might go in there like pants sagging, smelling a certain type of way. You feel me?
Yeah.
Just looking a certain type of way. People just looking at you. No salams, no. You feel me? Just making you feel weird in there. And it's just like, man, like you acting like I'm not allowed to be here. You making it seem like I'm out of place or something. You're making it seem like yeah, bro. And like for me, like once I remember when I was like 17 or something, I was or 18 or something, I went to the masjid, and that was the first time the imam just spoke to me. Like I bought a plate, I'm finna leave. He's like, "Salam alaikum." Like, where y'all finna go? I'm like, just go. And he's like, "Nah, man, sit down, man. You know, eat here, man, in the masjid." You know, and then he's just talking to me, and that's like it made me feel good. Like, damn, I'm acknowledged. You know, I feel, you know, and you know, we stayed to Asr. Never done that before. I never just stayed after Juma for this. I didn't even know, bro. Wallahi, I didn't even know you could play in the masjid besides Juma, bro. At that time, you know. So
yeah.
I'm not like it opened that door, you know. And all it took was that one time, you know. And then, of course, even after that, you know, I'm still like I done had dudes walk up to me and like introduce themselves like after prayer or something like "Assalamu alaikum, what's your name?" Yeah, hey brother, like just some advice, you know, maybe you want to pull your pants up when you know people praying behind you and yada yada yada, or maybe when you come to the masjid, you try to cover up the smell just so you don't distract people in their prayers and and making me feel accountable of like what I'm doing rather than feeling judged, you know. And I'll give you a quick story that like this was like whoa, like one of my day one bros, bro, you know, he was non-Muslim, and but he was one of my homies that like he say salam alaikum to me and what's up Ak and all that type of stuff. So one day I'm just like, but when you finna take your shahada, bro, you feel me? He's like, man, you know, I'm finna take it. I don't know, I'm just gonna, you know, just that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So before I took him home, I was like, I'm finna go to the masjid. I gotta pray Isha. You know, this right before I went to Mecca, I think. It's like right before. So it's Ramadan. Isha's like 10 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
We're gonna make he come in with me. We go play together, you feel me?
Yeah.
And after, you know, I play, you know, I'm doing dhikr or whatever, you know, just by the time I get up and he's talking to the dude who led prayer. So I'm just letting him talk. And then the dude who led prayer walk up to me like, hey, your boy said he's trying to take your shahada. I'm like, for real? I'm like, come on, let's go. And I like, hey, bro, you know what you like, you know what you're doing, right? Like, you know, I don't want you to just feel like you have to do it or nothing.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I understand. So I'm like, for sure. He took his shahada, bro, right then and there. It's Thursday night. So then I'm like, I'm gonna come get you for Juma tomorrow. What, 13, 14 hours later, bro? I go pick this dude up. I'm like, bro, you smoked? He's like, yeah, I wasn't supposed to, bro. Is it over? I'm like, nah, bro, it's good. Like, bro, you just became Muslim. You ain't know no better. You feel me?
Wow.
So we're in there making wudu.
Yeah.
You know? Man, one of the brothers come in like, astaghfirullah, man. People coming to the masjid smelling like some high, just talking all this gibberish, but he's not being direct. So I just look at my boy like, I ain't worry about this dude. But my dude, like, I don't want to say it's obvious he's a Reaver, but bro, he got tattoos all over his face. Like, you feel me? There's not too many born Muslims that's just got this body full of tattoos.
Yeah.
And so, like, he looked like a rock star, bro. And so, it was just like, bro, like, this dude don't even know. This dude just took his shahada less than 24 hours ago, bro. And you're over here just talking. He don't even know nothing yet. You know, and you're just over here you didn't come walk up to the dude and advise him. You didn't ask him for his name. You didn't ask him how long he became a Muslim. You just came in here talking. You feel me? I don't like, what is your intention? You feel me? Your intention can't be to change somebody because that's going to make someone like, if I wasn't there, he probably be like, well, I'm never coming back over here. They tripping over here. Like, you feel me? So you got to like, I think the big thing is, bro, you got to meet people where they're at. And you got to just purify your intentions. You know, make people, like, if your intention is to make someone a better Muslim, there really shouldn't be too much judgment and negativity coming out of your mouth. It should be met with compassion and met with understanding and met with, of course, accountability in that. Because if you speak to someone a certain type of way, they're going to be accountable to themselves. If you're like, man, when you do this, you might make someone feel like this. You're going to be like, damn, I never even thought about it like that, you know? Rather than just like, don't come to the masjid smell like weed, but it's like, oh, but who are you? But if you're like, bro, you know, you might be distracted somebody, you know, you want to be mindful of this, and that, and, you know, like, even, I remember I heard a hadith, like, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was something like, when someone came to the masjid after eating garlic or something, he was like, go brush your teeth or something like that. It was like just the smell that might distract the next person, you know?
Right.
And so it kind of gives you a mindset of like, damn, we just being mindful of and conscious of what your actions can lead to, maybe making somebody else just feel different or distracted, you know. So I feel like we gotta take that angle with certain people.
We gotta take that approach.
Gotta take that approach.
Most definitely,
yes,
bro. Thank you for sharing that story, bro. Because I feel like that by itself is gonna touch a lot of people. That story, subhanallah. Let me just take a minute to collect my thoughts, bro. Because that, bro, you just hit me with that, bro.
Yeah. No, that's definitely like it hit me. Yeah. Like that was you know, because I had people talk to me about the same stuff, but they came at me differently. You know, some people came at me a little snickering and, you know, all that type of stuff. Yeah. But the ones that impacted me was the ones that came and introduced me. Hey, what's your name, brother? How long you been Muslim? Where your parents from? Oh, you live around here? This is that. You go to school? Ooh. Okay, hey man, you know, mashallah, you're praying in the masjid, but let me just give you some advice. Brother to brother. Wow. That's what's going to touch somebody's heart. You make them feel loved. You make them feel like a part of the masjid. Wow. You make them feel a part rather than just like, oh, man, what you doing? Oh, my God. Brother, you don't know? Like, I don't.
And you have to ask yourself, is this the way the Prophet ﷺ
ask yourself that, bro.
Like, you have to ask, the way that the Sahabas accepted the deed, the way they were willing to put their lives on the line, sacrifice whatever they had.
Exactly.
Because of the rahmah, he was a mercy to mankind.
Exactly.
And so, subhanAllah, when I just think about people who move like this, and you know, there's another thing, bro. I think another thing people don't realize is when people are so critical of other people, they have to remind themselves, what struggle are you going through?
Man.
Because don't act like you don't got skeletons in your closet that you hiding. You know?
One thing I noticed is dealing with like when I was a kid, bro, I thought everybody born, like I said, I ain't had no Muslim friends or nothing. Child was like 16, 17, you know? I'm thinking like, oh yeah. But I see them at the masjid at Juma. I'm like, oh yeah, they probably all on their stuff. They probably never miss a prayer. They probably know the whole Quran. Like, that's how I just thought. Until like, really when I went to, and then even some of the friends I had, they was like, friends I met like, you know, kind of like in the streets. So they like the best Muslims already. They like me kind of. But when I went to UW and I'm seeing some of these more like privileged Muslim young people, and I'm like, oh, they got mistakes just like I got mistakes, man. They ain't it's not all just, you know, peaches and cream with them either. You know, we all struggle with certain things. But like another thing is just like when you come from an environment, bro, like if you got two religious parents and you got religious grandparents, aunties, of course you're still gonna struggle, but you're still held to a different standard, bro. You know, when you come home, it's a certain type of energy. There's a lot of Muslims out here that don't have that. That there's nobody they even have to look good for. So, of course, they're all the way to the left, you know? If you got good parents that's like, nah, you can't come in here smelling like weed. That's going to affect your smoking habit.
Right.
You can't come in here doing this. You can't come in here and bring girls over here. That's going to affect how much you mess with girls. But if you live somewhere where it's like no accountability, you can walk in here smelling like weed. So you smoking all day. You can walk in here with a girl. So you can go get a girl and come back. You can, you know, so you got to also understand like, some people are more exposed to sin than other people, you know? And you can't just be like, oh, I sin less or something. It's like, bro, you sin less, but you also have more things in place for you not to sin. And this dude, he might sin a lot, but there's nothing holding him back. Like for me, every change I had to be for the sake of Allah. Because I ain't had nobody to be, like, I ain't had to look good for nobody. I ain't have to, like, my parents was going to take me however I was. Of course, they want me to be good, but they never was on me about certain things, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to really, all my changes, I didn't stop doing certain things because to please my parents or to get a job or to please a woman. It was all for the sake of Allah, you know? Because I ain't had no other choice.
Hey bro, let me just dial that in for a second because I do want to highlight that point. People need to realize a lot of us that are like really immersed in a Muslim household or whatever, A lot of what we do is we move because of the culture, because of the family, because of the community, versus somebody who purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after, you know, all the obstacles, everything in front of them, they chose to choose the very hard way.
Yeah.
But for us, it's like everything's mapped out. So on the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this person's actions and this person, the sacrifice they made, is worth more because of what it cost them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like people, I'm gonna say like people like myself, people that, you know, that are like brought up in a Muslim practicing environment, in a community where this is just outlined, this is the norm, this is praiseworthy. So you're incentivized to choose this path versus somewhere where this is not, you know, this is like kind of off that. This is, you know, this is not the norm. This is unusual.
Exactly.
You know, so I do want to highlight that, bro. SubhanAllah.
Yeah, and you have to understand that. Even like for me, like I got like my mom's sons, my brothers on my mom's side. They took that shahada. You know, they had no Muslim dad, so they took that shahada later as adults and stuff. And like it would be wrong for me to be like, oh, you need to stop doing this. So, oh, man, you got to get on this. Because it's like, bro, at the end of the day, I had a Muslim dad that instilled this into me young. Even though it wasn't the most, you know, it was enough, though. La ilaha illallah. Like, literally, like, that's all you need to, that's the start. If you got that, you're good. If you got that, you have action at attaining everything else. That's the first thing you have to have.
Wow.
So, for someone who didn't grow up with that, it's a, like, if the things that they do is more reward for them than me, because I grew up with at least a little bit. I grew up with something, you know. So you can never look down on nobody. You know, you can never just be like, "Why you do this, man?" You know, because we all struggle. Like there's so many. Only Allah knows. Sometimes I might do something I don't even know why I do it. I don't know why I do this. Allah got a better understanding of why I do this more than me. You know, and so yeah, like you gotta you know you can't like put that judgment on certain people, bro, because it's like you don't know what, like you said, bro, Allah might be rewarding this person way more than he's rewarding you. You don't know what scale is what. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So you want to always just be purify them intentions, you know, be straight.
Everything's the intention. People
everything's intentions, bro.
SubhanAllah.
You know, you might have just did something and you might have just burned all your good deeds by one comment you said and gave this dude all your good deeds or something. Like, you don't know what Allah's doing about, like, up there, you know? So it's
powerful, bro.
It's powerful, bro. That's why Islam's so beautiful, because you can't, like, you can't be like, oh, he's a better Muslim than this dude, you know? Like, you can't even say that, you know. Only Allah can be like, he's a better Muslim. He's more beloved in my eyes than this dude. But we can't say that. We don't know what's going on, you know.
SubhanAllah. Yeah. All we can do is like pray for ourselves.
Oh man, all you can do is pray for ourselves,
and then pray for the person.
Like worry about what concerns you. Of course, if you see evil, if you see like impermissible things, you should try to change it. But don't like.
There's an approach
to it, you know? And at the end of the day, some things you just don't understand. Some things you can't solve right now. Some things you can't fix right now. And you got to just plant that seed. You never know what seed you may plant, bro. Like them dudes that didn't talk to me, I don't even know these dudes' names. I don't even, bro, if I seen them, I probably wouldn't even remember their faces. But I remember it, and I can ask Allah to reward those brothers that advised me, you know, that really changed my, like, I never forgot it. I can't remember the names or their faces, you know, but I never forgot that advice that they gave me, you know. And they might, wallahi, there's no way they can know how much that impacted me. They just was talking to somebody. Oh, brother, let me advise you on this. They probably don't even remember that. If I walked up to them and said something, they probably wouldn't even remember me. But imagine how much reward they're getting based on that. Them saying something and it influenced me, you know. So that's really like the approach that we got to take. Just planting seeds, because we do the work and then we leave the results to Allah. I think a lot of people, they try to do the work and do the results. I'm telling you the truth. Why don't you follow
and get failed and we get upset when the results is not coming.
Exactly. You know, like I was just talking to one of the brothers. I can't even remember who I was talking to, bro, a couple days ago. And I was like, I don't know, something about giving a Quran to somebody and them not reading it, something like that, bro.
Mm.
And I was just like, bro, like I gave this Quran. Man, I done gave a bunch of Qurans to people. I don't know who read it and who didn't. You know, that's not for me to. I'm just giving it to people. Here, read this. It's the truth. Like if you ain't listening to nothing else I say, read this. You know, man. I just found out one of my brothers. You know, he's incarcerated right now, but I gave him a Quran a couple years back. You know, never even talked to him about it again. You know, just hey, here you go, bro. Like he ended up taking a shahada in there though, bro. You know, it's just a seed planted. He ain't take a shahada with me. He ain't called me and asked like, hey man, I'm thinking about shahada. By the time I found out, oh, he already took a shahada. He in there with some Somali brothers, and you know, he's like, oh yeah, I already know about this stuff a little bit. You know, like yeah, my boy put me on. What y'all talking about now? And so they, you know, they did the. I might have, and who knows? I don't even know. You know, I might have planted the seed, and these brothers did the rest of the work. You know, Allah does everything, but you know Allah used them to do the rest of the work. Allah used me to maybe plant the seed, and sometimes that's all you need to do, bro. Sometimes you don't need to really. You just got to plant the seed, make dua for them. How often are we making dua for these people we're giving dawah to? You know, and Allah's gonna do the rest, bro. You know,
Allah's gonna do the rest.
Allah's gonna do the rest, man.
Subhanallah, man. Hey, bro, I know this is going to touch people off the rip. I know this is going to impact people.
Man, inshallah I do, man.
You know, I want to ask you, bro, what makes you hopeful for the youth? You know, when you look at the youth, although we struggling in many ways, you know, with our desires, with our environment, well, what makes you hopeful that, you know, they're going to choose, you know, the better path, inshallah?
Man, I think, like, one, bro, I think just brothers looking like us, you know, to relate to. You know, good brothers that's like on their deen that wear sweatsuits and wear certain clothes, wear Jordans and stuff like that, like, and you can relate to them a little bit, you know. Oh, this dude hoop, but he's on his deen. Oh, this dude does this, but he's on his deen. This dude, you know, like, just being more relatable, bro, and maybe having some of the young people be able to see themselves in that, you know. I think that would definitely, and then, you know, even maybe social media. Social media is a blessing and a curse, you know.
Right.
Like for me, excuse me, social media played a huge role in like getting on my stuff, you know, just watching certain videos. A lot of but I didn't even know what a hadith was a few years ago. Like I didn't even know what that was. Like. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
So seeing this, like, bro, what is this right here, you know? Right. Hadith, okay. What is that? The sunnah? Like,
yeah. I
heard these words before, but I don't know what they are, you know? And a lot of what I learned, at least from the beginning, was through, like, social media. And, you know, then, of course, you know, like, you don't want to just follow anything and you don't want to just, like, listen to anything, you know? But you got to start somewhere sometimes, you know? Sometimes you got to just, you know, listen to some of this stuff and just for it to open your heart and be like, man, this dude got a point. Let me see. And then, you know, some stuff you might be like, that's debatable, or, you know, and Allah knows best, you know. But definitely, bro, I think just like we have a lot of access to these phones, bro. We can literally look up every single hadith. We can look up how reliable it is. We can look up, it's right here, you know, before. You gotta find a book and you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you know, and like I feel like that's a good start. And then once you get a certain type of level, bro, like then you can start, you know. Of course, you never want to get rid of the books, you know. Those are the best. Like when you see them dudes with books, case full of just Arabic books and straight, you know, that's like my, you know, I'm a bark, but a lot of people ain't there yet. I'm not even there yet, so a lot of people aren't there yet to be able to, you know, take in all that. You got to start somewhere. So I think, man, that's definitely what I'm hopeful for, that, you know, you can really do your research. You don't got to go do too much. You don't got to go find hella books. You can damn near ask any question on Google and it's going to have something that can guide you to something, you know? And
right.
So I'm hopeful though, man. Man, Allah got us all.
I mean. Hey, bro. So inshallah, man, what's in the works for you, you know, with your works as a Muslim nasheed artist? You're with the label Thirlwell United, right? With
I'm
Petty
not really even.
Do you guys be working together?
We work together.
Gotcha,
you know, I haven't signed anything with them or nothing.
Gotcha.
But we work together. You know, they're my ikes. You know, on and you know, whether I do it or whether I don't.
Gotcha.
And my brother. So right now, bro, you know, I'm just working on the craft. You know, I'm really just doing the work. You know, I'm trying to get some type of project together in the near future, inshallah. More videos. We're just building up the brand, bro. You know, just getting my stuff together. You know, making content.
Right.
Like that's really it's.
And what message are you trying to get out there through your work and all that?
Well, just it's kind of like highlighting the beauty of the deen, bro. Like glorifying this, really. Like how we say when people glorifying the deen. You know, glorifying this rather than glorifying some of this other stuff that our people glorify. You know, and but still making it relatable. Still making it like at the end of the day, I'm still me. I'm still Zah. I'm still the same Zah that, you know, did all this other stuff. I'm still the same Zah that's from over here. I'm still the same Zah that, you know, people can relate to this because I'm one of them. You know, I'm part of the people. You know, so just speaking on that, you know, and letting it be known that like even me, like I glorified a lot of the wrong stuff. You know, I influenced people to do a lot of wrong stuff. You know, may Allah forgive me. And now I'm on this. If I can influence you to do something wrong, I definitely should be able to influence you to do something right, you know? So that's the message I'm trying to put there. Like, this is the best thing. Islam, following Allah, pleasing Allah. This is the best thing you can do. Everything else is really for the birds. I mean,
Gotcha. Hey, man, subhanAllah, bro. I think that's a good note to edit on. SubhanAllah, man. I was very impacted. And I think a lot of people are going to be impacted, bro, by your story, by this discussion, inshallah. Where can people tap in with you and your work, bro?
Man, you know, they can go on YouTube, you know, Zah International. And they can follow me on the gram, Zah_International. That's like the main stuff, you know. I'll be on a couple of these other things, but Instagram is really like the main stuff that I'm on right now. Instagram, YouTube, you know, I got a couple little stuff, you know, Apple Music, Spotify, same name, you know, but that's really, you can catch me.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming, bro. May Allah reward you.
I appreciate you bringing me, man.
Of course. And inshallah, maybe have you in the future, inshallah. Check in. And inshallah, have like a part 2, because then this is a big discussion.
Yeah,
inshallah.
Definitely, bro. Looking forward to it, inshallah.
Most def. All right, y'all. Well, if you guys enjoyed this podcast, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, share with somebody who you think will benefit, inshallah. And appreciate y'all for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum.